It's Chris here today from Huckabones Equipment. Today behind me we have the GR2120. It's a used machine. It's about 10 years old with about 600 hours on it. We've installed a brand new GR2846A on it. Today's video is going to be a quick overview of the GR itself and then jumping right into that snowblower, talking in greater detail about it, as well as actually going out and trying it out. We're going to show you, what the all-wheel drive is capable of, as well as that snowblower, so stick with us. So whenever you're dealing with this GR2120, as I mentioned before, it is a used model. It's got about 600-700 hours on it, been well maintained, stored inside. So you'll see it has kept its color, looks good. GRs, they've been virtually the same for about 12 years now. It's got the 21 horsepower diesel engine in there. You can get a GR2020 with the gas engine. Always highly recommended staying with the diesel because that is a Kubota diesel engine in it. Staying out front here, you're going to be doing with the power steering and the glide steer. Again, so that means that you're going to be turning on a dime as well as doing it with ease. Whether you're going up, down hills, sideways, whatever, it's going to do it. You're going to just be, one finger on that steering wheel doing what you need to do with it. Moving a little bit farther back, your creature comforts here, you got a nice high back seat. Again, the newer ones obviously have improved it quite a bit, but with the armrests and stuff, you were always quite comfortable sitting up quite high again. Whenever you got the hydraulic lift, so whether it's a snowblower out front or the mower deck underneath, very easy to do. The downside for the hydraulic lift is it doesn't lift too high on that snowblower. We'll show that in a couple minutes. You only got about 12 inches there. It can get you a little bit of issue, but not too bad. Moving right to the back here, you'll see 100 pounds worth of weights. You're like, wow, you just told me this thing weighs a ton. Why do I need weights? It is very important. Again, with that all-wheel drive and you got, let's say, a paved driveway, you get that one front wheel off in that little bit of a groove, you may get stuck just because, well, you got hung up kind of idea. So whenever you add that extra 100 pounds at the back, it works like a teeter-totter. So you kind of want it. Again, if you got a flat driveway, no real issues, you're more than likely never going to get hung up. You could probably do without. Everybody else, I highly recommend getting a set of weights back there. So just to help out, make it easy, you don't get stuck. Yeah, so now let's deep dive right into the snowblower. Brand new snowblower installed on this just GR. As you'll see out front, it's got the 2 auger system. Again, one thing we always see and be mindful of it is make sure your augers are offset. We get the phone call all the time where my machine isn't working properly. I replace the shear bolt and it's just building up snow. It's not throwing it correctly. It's because those augers together will just throw the snow and overwhelm that fan. So you want to offset so it's working in unison. After that, be mindful of that gearbox out front. It's stuck out front. And again, they're all going to be like that no matter what make or model you go with. Again, it's a $1,200 gearbox out front. You don't want to damage it, so you don't want to intentionally be ramming into things. Again, because once you get into there, those seals and bearings, more than likely once you have a major issue, you're not going to just be replacing that bearing, you're going to be replacing the whole gearbox. So because it's expensive and easier to do that way, is to replace the whole gearbox than just bits and pieces at a time. After that, you're going to have your 3 shear bolts, one for each auger and then the fan itself. So, and then moving a little bit farther back here with this nice chute here, the controls, you're going to have your electric deflector as well as your electric rotate. All works off a joystick sitting beside that seat. Works fantastic. It's fantastic having those controls electric instead of having to search for those manual controls, because when the snow is blowing back in your face, and we're going to see it today because we're dealing with some high winds, it's going to be blowing back in my face. It's really nice to be able to hit that control and have it blow off to the side. So it's great. I highly recommend getting that option. With the deflector, it does come standard with the rotation. One thing to know about these little electric motors is they suck. Whether it's year 1 or year 10, they're eventually going to let moisture in and freeze up solid on you. Up here in Canada and it doesn't matter what you do. We've modified them. We've put extra silicone there. We've put rubber gaskets. It doesn't seem to matter. If somebody has an idea down in the comments below, please share. As we've, for the last 10 years, we've been replacing these motors, and for the next 10 years, we're going to be replacing these motors. They just let moisture in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're out front, they're on their angle. It just kind of sits in the moisture and eventually seeps in and freezes you solid. So always try and keep one maybe on the shelf. They're not overly expensive, for $50, but again, they aren't the best quality, and that goes right across the industry. These little electric motors, we've seen them on many different products over the years. So moving a little bit farther back here with the quick hitch. It's a fantastic quick hitch. It was one of the first ones with that 4-post connection. You notice you got 2 pins on there, a lever that disconnects your PTO shaft. So you know, whether you're 25 or 85, it's pretty slick and easy to do. You know, we do have other videos on our channel showing the disconnect of that. So if you want to go into a deep dive of the quick connect itself, watch those. So yeah, so that kind of brings us to the end of the overview of the blower. Let's go out and try her out. So yeah, so a quick review of the unit with the blower on it. Again, as you can see up front, it doesn't lift very high. As mentioned before, you got about 12 inches there at the very tip. At the very back here, you know, you're probably down to about 6, maybe less than that. So not a whole lot of clearance there. Whenever you get some high drifts, you may want to opt for the optional drift cutters. Without being able to lift very high, you could possibly get hung up whenever you get into some hard packed snow. It's not a very heavy blower, so whenever you're dealing with hard pack like what we're on here, which is a snowmobile trail, it's not going to dig in, right? You know, whenever you see in the other thing, it's going right down to the ground, it's cutting right in. It's because that wasn't packed down. So whenever it is packed, it's going to want to ride on top. There's really no ifs, ands, or there's no way around that. It being a smaller unit, it does have its limitations, and that's one of them. After that, as mentioned before, as you saw with the all-wheel drive, ooh, there's like fall and slip. That tells you how slippery it is out here. So dealing with these tires, again, being turf tires, the downside to a turf tire is they fill up. You know, they have wicked traction whenever they can get traction. Whenever they fill up, whether it be snow or mud, you're going to be stuck. And it's not because of the unit or the all-wheel drive. It's just the nature of the beast. Whenever you can't get traction, you're not going to go anywhere. So, and it's very difficult to tell in that video, but it is extremely steep right here. You can kind of see in the background, or maybe some of our other videos where you've seen us climb up here with the tracks on the RTVs. You'll see that it is steep. This isn't easy. I'd love to go, and you'll probably see in the future is a T-Series just trying to climb this, or a BX. It's not easy. This machine powers through it. So yeah, that's kind of a quick quick few takeaways from using the unit. So that brings us to the end of today's video. You know, I hope you really enjoyed watching this GR Fun Connect snowblower working out front. You know, it wasn't a whole lot of fun bringing it to you. I'm not a huge fan. I love having cabs, and getting cold isn't my cup of tea, but if you did enjoy today's video, please leave your comments down below and like and subscribe. Thank you.